Lady Clytemnestra, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Agamemnon?
They better be good ones, Detective. I'm in mourning.
You sure seem inconsolable.
I'm numb with grief.
I see. Tell me about your relationship with your husband.
Well, there's not much to tell. Agamemnon fulfilled his duties as a husband and I as a wife. He was often away, yes, but there are worse things than absence.
Before his death, Agamemnon lived in Troy, it was, for 10 years? What was that like?
Oh, I missed him dreadfully.
Did you really?
Dreadfully. It is a miserable thing for a wife to be away from her husband, alone, waiting at home with no word.
What did you do then, say, to occupy yourself?
I don't quite take your meaning.
Were you lonely?
Ah, I see. I have broken no vow, Detective. I am no more an adulterer than I am a murderer.
What about Aegisthus?
Remind me who that is?
You know exactly who he is. He had a claim to Mycenae Manor and lived there for a few years with his father, until Agamemnon kicked them both out and cut him off from their inheritance. He alleges that the two of you struck up an affair during Agamemnon's absence.
Liar.
How can you be so sure?
Do you think I have the mind of a child? You have a terrible poker face.
You pride yourself on your ability to read people then.
You're easy to read.
You're too proud. You think you have Aegisthus's loyalty, but you're wrong.
I'm really wrong, Detective.
Aegisthus had his own motive for revenge. He saw his opportunity when Agamemnon was away to seduce you into starting an affair with him. Aegisthus planted the idea in your head that Agamemnon was having affairs whilst in Troy.
It's an idiotic theory.
He manipulated you, made you paranoid and angry. He turned you against your husband. Then he came up with a plan.
That's not what happened.
When Agamemnon arrived home, Aegisthus was lying in wait. He murdered him. Agamemnon's stab wounds could only have been caused by a man of strength.
Is that right?
He had you right where he wanted. Cleaning up the evidence, covering for his murder, but you don't have to anymore. You're no longer under his control.
I was never under his control. It was my plan, not his. I sought Aegisthus out. I made him loyal to me. Agamemnon thought he could just come home and I'd smile and carry on like a good little wife. When I took out the knife, he didn't even fight me like he would have a man. He thought I didn't have it in me to kill him. But I did. I stabbed him again and again and again. It was ugly work, yes, but it was my work and I take nothing but pride in it.
Pride?
Spare me your self-righteousness. It would fall to me to make sure that justice was done, and I am proud to have done it.
You call this justice?
I do. He was more of a murderer than me. A life for a life. For my daughter.
Electra and Orestes are safe in Athens. How can it be justice for them to lose a father?
I saved them from him. I never wanted to marry Agamemnon, but I bit my tongue and bore his children while he betrayed me and neglected me. And I could have gone on like that. I could have, because it didn't matter what he did to me. But what he did to my daughter? Iphigenia, who is more deserving of death? A little girl or the grown man who stole the life from her? She was a child. Why don't you direct your self-righteous horror to her murder? Agamemnon got more life than he was worthy of. I should have put him down the first chance I got. I could have saved her. Tell me now that he didn't deserve to die! So stands the case, Detective. You going to shoot me now? I am prepared to die. I knew what the consequences of killing Agamemnon could be. Are you prepared for the consequences of killing me? Will you explain to my children what happened? Will you raise them? Make your choice.
Case closed. Go. Go.
Thank you, Detective.